Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today we're going back to my Switch killing days. It's been a good few months since I've looked at a Nintendo Switch, and I thought it'd be quite nice to have a look at one again. So I have been keeping my eye on eBay, but unfortunately the prices are just sky high on everything. I think a lot of it's fueled by people doing YouTube videos, so it's near enough impossible to get anything really that's a bargain off things that people might be interested with on eBay. So although I've been looking at Switches, often they seem to be around between £80 and £100. It's really not worth spending that on something which is probably going to be water damaged or beyond repair. But this one came in and the seller had two of them, and I put an offer in because it was best offer. I put an offer in for £100 for two of them. They were up for £65. He got back and said that one's already been sold, but he's happy to take £55 if I can push it a little bit more up from £50. I wasn't going to argue over £5, so I paid £55 for this Nintendo Switch plus £5.57 postage. There's nothing in the description apart from the fact that it doesn't turn on. So let's take it apart and let's see what we've got. Well, I'm not going to lie, but I am quite excited by this because it's nice doing things sometimes when you've done them before because you know your way around them more. Okay, so it's nicely packaged. Nice hair as well. Right, let's turn it on. Okay, nothing's happening there. I've got my little charger here. Let's get a power bank. Plug this into here. Let's see if it's drawing anything. No. Oh. Yes, a bit. Let's see if it'll turn on now. That went up to 30 there for a second, didn't it? Right, okay. Well, it's definitely drawing something. Let's plug it in that way. Let's see if that does anything. $39. Then it drops again. Well, let's take it apart and have a look on the inside, and we'll have a better idea of what's going on. Now, is there anything in the game? No, no game. Oh, we've got an SD card. Oh my god, a 256 gigabyte SD card. Results. What make is that, I wonder? Made in Taiwan. I wonder what make that is. Well, that's a bonus, isn't it? That makes me think it's not a business seller, because the business seller would have checked all that out. Excellent. Right, let's undo the screws. So we've got crosshead screws here, and two at the bottom, and the middle one's there. Oh, that's been taken out already. That one there, and that one there, and then the four corner ones will be tri-wing. Oh, actually, I suppose we should zoom in really and have a look at this port here. Well, to me that port looks okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right, let's carry on with the dismantling. Okay, and the micro SD card reader is not plugged in. Right, so it's starting to look a little bit more iffy. I think it looks okay though. Right, here goes. Would it be water damaged? Excellent. The water indicator sticker there looks to be okay. Now zoom in a bit. Something looks a bit iffy just here. Just going to zoom in on that bit. Not sure what's going on there. There's definitely something going on there. Right, so I suppose first thing, let's disconnect the battery and let's see if we've got any voltage in the battery. So I've got this set to DC. Right, 2.5 volts is a low battery. So, yeah, I think the charge that was coming in the amp meter, the USB tester, was okay, because it's not going to be charging at the full amount when it's at 2.5. This needs to be up to, it's a 3.7 volt battery, so this is going to be about 4.2, I think it is, when it's fully charged, or 4.3. So yeah, the battery's low. Let me see if I've got a spare battery. Right, because it's been so long, I haven't really got much stuff that's working, but I can't even remember what I used this for. It must have been some project I was working on where I needed to extend the battery to fit it in something, but it is showing voltage in this one. There you go, 4.1. Yeah, so that's going to be enough to power the switch. Let's pop this one in and let's see if this turns on. Do you know what? I've got a feeling it might do. No, I thought, you know what? I thought that was just going to be battery related. Right, let's plug this in and see what it's doing. Now that's strange, isn't it? So that's like fast charging. That sort of shows that it's on. I wonder if it's I don't know if I've seen that behaviour before. Right, let's strip it down and let's see if we can. Let's test some of the capacitors around the chips, see if that shows, or maybe the other side of the board might be there might be some burn marks or something obvious. Right, so there's loads of screws to undo, so I'm just going to get a move on with it. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to give a big shout out to My Mate Vince Massive, and this month that consists of Saturnine Cinema, Robert Hughes, Operational 117, KitDigital.com, Cassie Clark, Kip Hakes, and Max Rokotansky. So as always, a massive thanks to the My Mate Vince Massive and all the Patreons. Yeah, and this is broken up here, so 100% this has already been looked at, which is fair enough. For £55 you would expect no different, would you? Yeah, I'm trying to look into this connector here for the screen, and it doesn't look healthy, I don't think. I'm just going to see if it does actually go in or not. I mean, it was in before. No, can you see there are pins just come out the back there? See this little pin here? There's a problem with the screen connector. And I think that's why there was damage here, because it's been forced in. Can you see that pin's just popped straight out? And look, it seems to be pivoting on the middle there. Can you see? It's not wanting to go in there. So that's been forced in. Hence the reason why it's damaged here, because it's been pushed in by the tweezers. Right, well what I am going to do is, these are a nightmare. And if anybody's watched my old videos, they would know how I've struggled with that before. I think I am going to see, I'm going to put this back together and I'm going to see if it docks. If it docks, then we know it's a problem with the display here. So let me just quickly put this back together and see what happens when we plug it into a dock. Right, I'm just putting it back together, and I've had a look here and I can see kind of like a different coloration on the bottom of this chip here. And when I look through my eye loop, I can see that it's actually got corrosion around it. So let me zoom in. So if you have a look, can you see on this pin up here? Or on the corner bit, look at that. That's corrosion. And yeah, also a little bit around there. Before we go any further, let's give that a good clean up. I mean, obviously we've got a problem with the screen connector, but let's give this a clean up here. I'm just going to use some IPA, isopropyl alcohol. Right, so although there's corrosion on that chip there, The caps and stuff all look good, so I definitely don't think this has had much water damage. Now let's just do a quick test between a ground. So I'm just going to use a ground on the shield over here, and let's just go across these capacitors. This one is as short as far as the beep's concerned, but this one here is the actual ground because this is like 1 ohm. But this one here is coming up as 21 ohms, but normally that doesn't short. Yeah, we've got continuity through there. Right, so something's not right. I'm wondering if the pins in this connector here are causing a short. Can you see in there? Look, see the ones are missing from here. So if you have a look here, you can see all the bottom ones look to be in place. But then if you look at the top, can you see, like, you can see them here, here. But now look, where are the ones over here? Anyway, let's I still want to dock it to see what's going to happen. Amazingly, it does dock. I've had to use that battery to get it to work, which is fair enough because the other one's completely flat. But it's docking. The strange thing is that it was completely reset. So it sounds to me as if the original owner knew that it was working on a dock and not in handheld mode in order to be able to completely reset it, because otherwise, without the screen working and stuff, you wouldn't have been able to reset it there. I'm a little bit confused about how we've got to this stage here where it's been sold on eBay if it's a dock switch and it's working as a dock switch. Because obviously as a dock switch it's worth more than £55, and as well as that, if you have a look, the SD card is being recognised. Data management, can you see there, 249 gigabytes. So yeah, I mean, it's great for me. I'm just a bit confused about how we've got to this stage where somebody knew enough to reset it, but then they didn't do anything else with it, which is a little bit strange. Because normally when you fix a Nintendo Switch, it comes up with the last person on here and all the games that they've played. But you can see this one was completely a new install where you have to put the Joy-Cons on the side and go through the setup about what country you're in and stuff like that. So yeah, I think what I need to do is I need to have a closer look now at this ribbon cable connector for the screen and see if anything can be done about that. Now, to just try and get some charge in this existing battery, because it'd be so much easier for me to do the testing with that, let's plug it in here, which is automatically going to try to turn this on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hold this power button down for a good 10 seconds to make sure the switch is fully off, and we're not going to tamper with that cable. And then what that will do is it will allow it to hopefully get some charge into the switch, because if we leave it like that, it's just going to keep trying to turn on and off, and the very fact it's lighting up the screen is not letting it charge up the battery. So there you go, I've held that down for a long time now, so the backlight should be completely off, which it is. So now I'm just going to leave that in there for about half an hour, 45 minutes, just to get some charge into it. Just to show you now, if I go across the contacts here on the battery while it's plugged in, if you watch this, you will see that it will slowly work its way up. So hopefully when I come back to that later, that should be right the way up. Alright, so let's strip it completely down and get this board out. This is the thing we're going to have to work on here, but also something's not right with this one here. If you have a look on this capacitor, we have got, it's not a short, but it is short in when other Nintendo Switches are not doing it. So the bottom one's a ground and this one's showing about a 47 ohm, let's just call it a short, but it's not. And that top pin there is actually linked to these bottom two here, and if you have a look you can see they're the ones that's corroded. So if I get another Nintendo Switch with some of the pads missing, the chips missing, here we go, look at this one here. So you can see that the bottom of the capacitor goes to the ground, but now the top of the capacitor goes to that one there and also the one next to it, yeah? So those two there. And on here, they're the ones that's measuring as short, and yet those two are completely obliterated. So I'm going to put a little bit of flux on just to see if I can get a little bit of solder back onto those pads. Right, so that's it, zoomed in super close, and you can see I've just gone all around the pins here. I managed to get some solder on this pin here, but not really on that one. But if you have a listen now, if I go between this capacitor here, you can see short in here, but it's no longer short in there. And it's reading 110 ohms now. And my meter beeps at 50 ohms or less. And if I go between here and the pads, yeah, look. You can see, so although you can't really see any solder, there must be some sort of contact there. But that's where it's burnt away there. But maybe it's not that important. If this cap is just used to filter something rather, maybe it's not that big a deal. So I don't think I'm going to worry about this, because the danger with replacing this one here is it's so easy to melt this one here. Even if you don't use a load of Kapton tape, it's just so close to it that you often find that this will melt, and then I won't be able to get the Joy-Con rail in. So I'm not going to worry about this one here, especially now that the short has disappeared. Well, not the short, but you know what I mean. It's not beeping anymore. So now let's turn our attention to this thing here. So there is a chance that I would be able to get a needle and try to rearrange those pins. You can see that they're damaged here. And also some of these look missing, or I'm not sure what's going on here. As well as that, one of them pushed out the back here. So I think it was this one here. There you go, that one there is pushed out the back, and you can see it's not attached. So rather than messing around with that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat the board from the other side. Well, actually, no. I'm going to heat the board. Yeah, I'm going to heat the board from the other side, take this one off, and then try and fit a new one completely. Okay, so I'm going to add some flux around this connector here. Now on the opposite side of the board, hopefully nothing on this side will fall off, because I'm going to be heating up in this area, and you can see it's just around this area here. So I'm going to set my airflow to 5 out of 8. I'm going to put the temperature right the way up to 480 degrees Celsius. So now let's heat it up and let's see if it comes off. Right, I can already see the flux starting to heat up. Here it comes. Excellent. Right, okay, so that looks like it came off quite cleanly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wipe away the old solder, and then I'm going to put leaded solder on to make the next one a lower melting temperature. Now, last time when I did one of these, I actually used a soldering iron and I just tapped each of them, and I was successful. But after being inspired by watching Anonymous Repair late last night, he did an FPC connector on an iPad, I think it was, I'm not sure which, iPad 4 or something like that, and he heated it up from underneath and it seemed to go really smoothly for him. Now obviously he's a professional, I'm not, but I'm going to take my inspiration and I'm going to try to do that rather than spending the next half an hour trying to tap each one of these connectors with a soldering iron. Right, so I'm going to add some more flux to this here, and I've changed the tip of my soldering iron over to a bigger one. And when it's up to temperature now, I'm going to use a little bit of solder braid, you know, this wick stuff, solder wick, and I'm just going to rub up and down these. I'm going to try to do it in line with the pads, just to try to remove that, and then we're going to tin it up with leaded solder. In fact, let's put leaded solder on first because it will make it easier to all come off. See, by using a bigger tip you get much more heat into the board. Right, I'm happy. Can you see there the solders on here now? So I'm happy that they've been removed. Right, hopefully that's going to be enough solder on there. So I'm going to set it up again so I can get the heat gun underneath it. I'm just going to clean this up first and then apply fresh flux to it. Right, again add some flux. Now I've got to try to line up this connector, but it's hard because I'm not doing this under the microscope. I'm just going to get my head in the way a minute. Well, that's roughly in the right position. Let's just hope by heating it up it's going to put it into the correct position. Here goes. Right, okay, I've seen that sort of wobble back, but I don't know whether or not it's in the correct position. Before it goes cold, I'm just going to get my eye loop right in the way. Right, amazingly, that looks like it's in the correct position. But what I found really hard is, normally I rest like my elbows on the table, because obviously I have the shakes, just like most people do. And there I was just having to go free arm. I had nothing to rest against, and it's really hard because, let me zoom out and show you what I mean. I can't rest my hand against this little arm here because you can see it's going to wobble around the place. So that's why I found that particularly hard. Anyway, let it cool down and then let's have a real close look at it. And I'm also going to get some IPA and just give it a clean. Right, so this is it on, and I'm really happy with how it went. All these look like they're connected. But on this side here, I can't tell. These all look good. In fact, they all look good apart from this one and possibly this one. But that one, look at that. There's no solder on that whatsoever. Or that one. Or that one. That's okay. And I think from then on, they're all okay. But those end ones, annoyingly, I'm going to have to tap with a soldering iron. So this could all go wrong now. Right, I think they're done. Well, let's see if the little flap's still closing. Yes, it is. Excellent. Right, let's pop this back into the switch and see now if anything happens on the screen. Alright, here we go. I've put it back together. The flap then was a little bit sticky getting down, so I had to clean it with IPA again. That's the problem with this, is although it's no clean flux, it's really sticky. It's like a kind of gloopy glue. So it's very hard to get all the flux away from it. Anyway, I haven't got the heat pipe or anything on, but I've put the screws back in here and just put the screws hidden here, so if it works I don't have to take it apart again. Right, let's see now if anything's going to happen. Here goes. Is it going to do anything? Backlight's on. But nothing's happening. What's going on? Check this out. I put a huge amount of pressure on the connector and it came to life for a second. There, look at that. So it's my connector's not on properly. So all I have to do is resolder all of them and hopefully we will have a working switch, which is fantastic. Yeah, there's no dead spots there. Excellent, we're getting there. And what I'm doing now is I'm putting pressure on that side of the connector there. So now let's put pressure on this side. Yeah, that doesn't make a difference. So it's the ones that I try to solder. Look at that. Fantastic. Right, let me shut this thing down properly. I think as long as I don't muck this up, we will be able to get a working switch out of this, which will be amazing. From what I can see, it's just these end two again. I mean, you can see there's lumps of solder on that one, and that one, but not that one and that one. So let me try them again. Again, just a tiny bit of flux. Done. Excellent. Right, let's clean this up, put it back together, and now see if it's going to work. Right, here goes. I'm hopeful now. Brilliant. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Oh, that's good. Let's see if the touchscreen's going to work. There we go. Let's see if the game card's reading. Fantastic, excellent. Yeah, there we go. And let's see if it's charging. Yes, we've got the little charging symbol there, and that's fast charging. 1.7 amps, which is what it should be doing. Brilliant. So I just need to put it back together now and make sure it works in docked mode, make sure the Joy-Cons work. But it looks like this switch is going to be saved, which is fantastic. So here we have it. You can see it's still fast charging for itself. It's all back together. It looks like it's all working, doesn't it? But this thing has the weirdest fault that I've ever seen. So watch this. Plug it into here. You can see it docks straight away. We've got no problem with anything like that. You can see that the controllers work fine. I've downloaded digital games. So this Blazing Star is a digital game. And these are all physical carts here. I've got Street Fighter in at the moment. I've connected it to my own account. Everything is working fine, apart from one major thing which makes this switch completely and utterly unusable, and that is every time I go to play a game, whether I play a physical cart or a digital game, it won't let me play. The software was closed because an error occurred, and this happens on every single game. So that's a physical cart. You can see the little icon there. Now watch this. This one is not a physical cart here. This is a digital copy. So it's got nothing to do with the card reader. It will do the same thing, and it will come up with an error. It's like the switch has been banned, but it's been banned from physical carts as well. I don't actually understand it. See? And the other thing it sometimes does is what I would call a white screen of death. It just goes completely white, and then you have to power it off to get it back on. Now, what have I done since then? I removed that capacitor next to that little charging chip, you know, the one that was showing us short earlier, and it didn't make a bit of difference. It was still doing the same thing, so I put the capacitor back on. And also I removed the card reader from the top, you know, the touch screen, and it's still doing the same thing. So this has nothing to do with the card reader. Could it be to do with that little charging chip? I can't see how, because it's fast charging, and you can see it's docking fine and it's charging fine, so that looks like it's okay. To me, it looks like it's got some sort of software issue, but I've updated this to the most recent software. So if I go down here now, system settings, and if I go all the way down, system update, and it will just say that your system is up to date, 10.2.0. So what is it? What is it with this? I've tried resetting it. I've done a complete reset back to factory settings, and it hasn't made a difference. So everything is working perfectly, apart from the fact you can't play games. Just to show you another cart, just to show you that it's not just a dodgy cart. So if I plug in Mario Kart now, you will see it will come up here. And if I go into it, it would just do the same thing. So the only thing I can think to do is possibly change the charging chip over, but I'm not going to do it in this video because I really don't think it is that. But that's the only damage that I've seen on the board. There you go, that was the white screen of death I was talking about. And now it won't do anything, it will just hang there for absolutely ages until I physically go and turn the switch off. So if I hold this down now, you can see it will go off and then it will come back on again. So something really is very strange with this one here. Which is a real shame because I got close to getting this to be a fully working switch. But is it going to come back on or not? I haven't docked it when it had that white screen thing. Well, it's on there. Maybe it was. Hold on. Maybe it was about to do it. Also, I've removed the micro SD card. It's not that. I've removed the SD card little reader. It's not that. So it's nothing to do with the things that you could think that it could possibly be. But how could the software be corrupted? And if Nintendo ban your account because you've hacked it, as far as I know, it just stops you from going online. This is strange for it to do everything and download the games and update the games, but then when you go to play them, it's not allowing it. So it's like, is there some sort of security check as you go to play a game, and is it failing that, and that's why it's coming up with the error? I don't know. Put it down in the comments if you know what it is. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Bye now.